America's Heartland is made possible by Farm Credit, financing agriculture and rural America since 1916. Farm Credit is cooperatively owned by America's farmers and ranchers. Learn more at farmcredit.com. Crop Life America, representing the companies whose modern farming innovations help America's farmers provide nutritious food for communities around the globe.
Hi, I'm Sarah Gardner. Coming up, we'll share some of the most beautiful scenery in America with you and meet the people creating art in the Heartland. We'll meet a Colorado artist working on a big canvas. Take you to Minnesota to visit a woman for whom cows are the artistic inspiration. See how California farmers are opening their land to creative artists. And travel across the plains for a one-of-a-kind art experience in Nebraska's wide open spaces. It's all coming up on America's Heartland.
You can see it in the eyes of every woman and man in America's Heartland, living close to the land. There's a love for the country and a pride in the brand in America's Heartland, living close to the land.
One of the things that viewers of America's Heartland share with us on our website, our Facebook page, or in tweets to us each week is how much they enjoy our stories about agriculture in some of the most spectacular scenery in America. And we'll be the first to admit that we're often blown away by beautiful landscapes in many of the places we visit. Literally from amber waves of grain to those purple mountain majesties. It's easy to see why viewers in a congested urban environment, maybe that's you, appreciate the incredible scenery that farmers and ranchers enjoy when they look out the window. Capturing America's iconic rural landscapes has been a popular subject for artists for hundreds of years. So let's take you cross-country to meet some artists for whom art and agriculture are a natural combination. Jason Schultz starts with a special lady in Minnesota.
I am painting a group of sheep in a pasture.
Bonnie Moore is in a familiar place, her second-story studio, putting brush to canvas.
It's a peaceful, serene pasture setting with no particular time of day.
This Minnesota farm girl turned artist has established a unique reputation among rural lifestyle artwork fans.
I am known as the cow lady.
Outside the window of her studio is her family's rural Minnesota dairy farm.
I look out right out the window and the cows are out there, and I mean, I can't tell you how many moments I've been sitting here painting, and I'll take a break and look out the window and I mean literally see a newborn calf and grab my camera and run out the door. Come on girls, smile.
These Holsteins photographed on the Moore family dairy farm today might someday become the subjects in a future painting. It's not every dairy farm that has its own artist.
I almost want to call you the cow whisperer after watching you out here, the way you work these.
I've been called worse, yeah.
That's fantastic. So what are you looking for when you're out there? You know, you're kind of talking to the cows.
Well, you know, cows are very curious creatures and they respond to almost any kind of activity around them. I'm looking for a look. I'm looking for an ear the right way. I'm looking for them to stretch their neck in an interesting way, because when I go back to my studio, that, you know, I have to pretty much work off of photographs because I don't sit out here and
with your easel.
paint. Yeah.
That wouldn't work very well.
Yeah.
The cows won't stay in one place long enough.
Yeah, that's right.
Bonnie and her husband John own Glenmark Genetics, a 75-head dairy farm.
It's kind of our little saying that we have between the neighborhood is that she's the painter and I'm the milker.
Of course, like most farms, roles aren't ever really defined here. Everyone in this family does their part. Bonnie and John grew up on Minnesota dairy farms and after college found jobs in the city of Minneapolis.
But at the same time, I was working at my painting evenings and weekends. And I think for everyone there comes that defining moment where you say, I need to do this. And so after 3 years with that publishing company, had a big talk with my husband and I said, you know, I really feel the calling for this.
We both had secure jobs in the metro area, but we still wanted to follow our dreams. I grew up on a dairy farm, but I always wanted to run a dairy farm myself someday.
Today, Bonnie Moore sells paintings worldwide. Now she's got employees who handle the shipping and marketing from her office and gallery located right on the farm.
She paints what she loves, and she can paint a cow better than anybody else I know. And as she continues, she wants to branch out into more different styles of painting.
Painter, businesswoman, dairy farmer, when you wear that many hats, you've got to set priorities.
You know, I strive daily to find that balance, and I think the way to do it is to prioritize. And for me, I decided my kids would come first and my work would come second.
Which brings us back to the sheep painting. To achieve what she's looking for, she's got to leave some things out, to prioritize.
You got to decide what's important and what's not. If there's too much going on, the eye can't focus and it's mumble jumble.
A life lesson that served this artist, mom, and farmer well.
Cows are big animals. Fully grown, those black and white Holsteins can weigh up to 1,500 pounds. And if you come in contact with a bull, be aware that you're facing an animal that might weigh up to a ton. Oh yeah, and some bulls have horns.
The wide open spaces of America's heartland offer many opportunities to capture images that touch the very soul of the American agricultural experience. And having the chance to spend some time on our country's farm or ranch land can give an artist inspiration. Let's take you to a couple of places where those experiences are shared by farmers and artists. Akiba Howard travels to the wide open spaces of Nebraska.
There are images and sounds we usually associate with life in the heartland. But there are also images and sounds that make some places unique.
Here's space, do what you want, and you don't have to worry about someone looking over your shoulder that you are doing this. You can experiment, and I encourage experimentation.
Welcome to the Art Farm. Created in 1993, this artistic enclave sits on half of Ed Dady's farm a couple hours west of Omaha. Ed's nephew works the production side of this land, growing corn and soybeans. And while that farm work goes on, visiting artists spend their time appreciating the rhythms of rural life.
That's sort of typical of the way artists work around here. It's like long periods of thought, trying to go through the process. So it's a reason why I sort of recommend they come for 2 months, because it takes 1 month to get through all the other stuff. Then they work.
On this late spring morning, a poet and 2 painters have immersed themselves in the farm's creative atmosphere.
On the website, Art Farm seemed like kind of strange and adventurous, not like your average residency.
29-year-old Rebecca Johnson is an impressionist artist from Asheville, North Carolina. The Art Farm gives her a window on a world that's different from her usual environment.
There's something just strange and amazing about walking down a dirt road and just being able to see for miles and knowing that you can walk and walk all day and you'll be on that same dirt road and it'll still pretty much look the same.
24-year-old Amy DePlacido traveled 1,600 miles from Middleton, Massachusetts. She found the pace of the farm fueled her passion for linear art.
I think it really slows you down here. I think that's really important to learn too, especially coming from the city and just knowing that hustle and bustle, it doesn't really matter.
The geography also inspired her artwork of straight lines.
and seeing those lines of cornfields and soybean, and you can see right down and everything's placed in a grid. So I'm very inspired by these man-made, like geographical lines on the landscape.
Sycamore, lone mare under the arced limb. Here, a list of yellow things.
For poet Meredith Clark of Seattle, the art farm offered a new look at her view of writing.
I think it's been actually a real life-changing experience in a lot of ways. Learning an awful lot about the way that I work. You know, I think a lot of people make the mistake sometimes of coming to a residency and assuming that they're going to churn something out.
She also had to learn the process of printing her poetry, the old-fashioned way.
This has probably taken me about an hour and a half or 2 hours, and it's just 6 lines of type.
The art farm has welcomed artists from 10 different countries. Space is limited to fewer than 24 residencies a year, and in exchange for room and board, the artisans help work the farm. A current project is restoring old barns which see duty as studios and living quarters. On this day, an old bathtub became a spa of sorts.
It gets hot here during the day, so we're going to fill it up when we need to cool off. Jump in the tub, go back to our studio and work. We're already doing that with the hose occasionally, but this will be better.
The landscape has become a repository of artwork completed by previous residents. Carol and Bernard Smith say they make the pilgrimage from Indiana on a regular basis to see what's new.
I remember when Ed first started this, it was like, how is he going to get people to come here? But it just never stops. I mean, it just seems like every year he's got more and more and more, and it's wonderful.
Perhaps it's the liberation of open space. Perhaps it's the serenity to be found here. Ed and the artists will tell you, it's inspiration without encumbrance.
It's the experience that you can try something, you can experiment, not worry about failing.
While cattle, sheep, and horses roam the ranch lands of Nebraska today, the area was once home to giant mammoths. The University of Nebraska State Museum in Lincoln has skeletons of full-sized elephants that once roamed the region. Oh, and one sweet food note about Nebraska. Kool-Aid was invented in Hastings, Nebraska in 1927. Originally a soft drink syrup called Fruit Smack, inventor Edwin Perkins changed it to a powder to make it easier to ship.
Rural images have long been a staple of American artists. Think about the work of Edward Hopper, Andrew Wyeth, or Georgia O'Keeffe. Part of the attraction is capturing the subtle changes of light and color on fields or farm buildings. Kristen Simo says Northern California is home to a unique partnership bringing farmers and artists together to encourage that creative spirit.
The scenic beauty of America's farm and ranchland has long been a natural inspiration for artists and photographers. From sweeping fields of South Dakota wheat to the wide open spaces of Colorado cattle country to the rolling hills of California's Capay Valley.
This is the second time I've been here at this farm. I'm trying to capture these hills, and I've been working on it like in between when I'm not even here to see how I can get the feel of just the curves and the undulations of the land, and that's my goal today.
I'm painting the hedgerow over there and the orchard in front of it. I like that contrast of that big dark windbreak, and I like the lime green line of the, I think they're apricots, over there.
Not wanting to impose or trespass, many artists often limit themselves to accessing heartland views from public roadways. But California farmer and fellow artist Annie Main recognized those limitations and began inviting creative folks onto her farmland in Yolo County, east of San Francisco.
Having our own farm and seeing the landscape and seeing the beauty, that was when I started inviting other artists here to places that they would never have the opportunity to go to.
I think somebody's going to go paint out there.
Annie reached out to an existing Yolo County arts program, together creating the Arts and Ag Project.
Any way that you can get people to stop and think about where their food comes from and the importance of fresh food, fresh local food, and if we could do that through a painting, that's fabulous.
The program allows as many as 35 artists to visit a Yolo County farm or ranch each month.
I'll look at the hills, the lighting on the hills, and it is a moment, you know, where that light hits it and creates the scene, and it is so incredibly beautiful. And then there's a challenge of seeing if you can figure out how to catch it, you know, on a piece of paper in watercolor or even in a photograph.
The thing that I like about it is it puts me in touch with nature.
Mary Ann Kirsch has been teaching art for 25 years and believes that programs like these help people to understand the importance of maintaining open space and protecting rural land.
This is a valuable part of our life and a valuable part of our environment. And that's key to what's happening right now, because I think preserving the environment is like a #1 issue for us.
And this project actually has given me access to lots of venues.
Rebecca Ryland uses watercolors in crafting her landscape artwork. She enjoys the solitude of working in an environment that's filled with plants instead of people.
I think the arts benefit all of us. For the farmer, it's been really, I think sometimes they enjoy having visitors on the farm. Some of them definitely do, and of course if they don't, they make themselves scarce. So it's an activity where everybody gets to be together.
Well, this is my very first attempt too.
The Arts and Ag Project in Yolo County has proven to be so successful that it received a grant from the National Endowment for the Arts, providing a model for other communities that want to showcase their tie to the land and American agriculture.
It's exceeded our wildest expectations, and now we're getting phone calls from all over the country.
The completed artworks capture iconic images of rural life in America, and many of the projects find their way to a year-end public event, the proceeds from which are used to promote farmland preservation.
The message is that this is worth saving, that we really want these farms to exist in the future. I really feel that if we lose the appreciation for our farmlands, we lose a part of our American soul.
I think it connects the community to their place. And ultimately, that's the power of where we are and who we are and what we want for our community.
California has more than 75,000 farms and ranches, and many California crops make their way around the world. Tops in the production category are dairy products, grapes, nursery crops, almonds, and strawberries.
So far, we've seen how artists capture the majesty and beauty of the heartland on a fairly small scale. But let's introduce you to an artist whose work touches the pride and products of a particular region with the kind of canvas you'll probably see nowhere else. Rob Stewart heads for a small community in Colorado with a very colorful artistic attraction.
Welcome to Berthoud, Colorado, a small town in a state where cattle, corn, wheat, dairy, and hay are prime products in a robust agricultural landscape. Berthoud sits at the heart of Larimer County, where farming and ranching generate nearly $130 million each year for the local economy. Berthoud has been nicknamed the Garden Spot of Colorado, and if you head for the center of this rural farming community, you'll find a beacon shining bright. It's called Berthoud's Roots, an expansive 55-foot mural painted on the historic grain elevator downtown. This unique artwork on its giant concrete canvas is not only a tribute to the town's agricultural roots, but to its modern spirit of community as well.
What were you trying to capture?
Well, I think we wanted a family unit that works together, an agricultural family, sort of taking a break in the field, maybe from harvest, or mom bringing lunch, kind of a feel like we're taking a few moments away from the hard work of farming to enjoy our family.
Colorado artist Susan Daly worked with muralist Eleanor Yates to conceive and execute this collaborative creation in 2005. And since then, people from all around the world have come to this small Colorado community to see the giant mural.
People will say, oh, they're the ones with the grain elevator. And people come in, they take great pride. This is one of the few communities, certainly west of I-25 in the Front Range, that still is agriculturally oriented, and they take great pride in it.
One of the things I felt when I saw it is that I feel like it transcends time.
My fond memories of childhood are on my grandparents' farm. I already kind of love the agricultural scene, and you kind of see the agriculture disappearing from the Front Range. It just feels like it's kind of a tribute to those roots.
Roots that run deep for Susan Daly. Her earliest childhood memories are those happy times spent on her grandparents' farm. She's been painting agricultural images ever since. For Susan, it's her way of connecting to her past.
I always was fascinated by the farm. And I think it's funny because I think my mother grew up on the farm, and she was sort of, I'm getting away from the farm, and here her daughter wanted to go back to the farm all the time.
Susan traveled cross-country to Philadelphia to study with famous muralist Meg Saligman in learning how to best create the expansive images that give her murals such impact. It was the life lesson Susan was looking for.
Sort of giving me a boost of confidence that the size of her project was so overwhelming to me, and it was such an opportunity to work with her, that now I come back here and I can do anything.
Oh, the happy, happy sunny, pretty rolling days where the sweetest glide that ever there prevails, where the sunshine lingers on the hill on the sunny side of life.
But painting isn't Susan's only creative outlet. Music is another.
Both my husband and I are musicians, and she just always was interested in drawing and seemed to follow that line more than the music, although she enjoyed the music too. But I think art got more devotion.
That devotion to making an impact is on display in the nearby town of Dunn, Colorado, where another grain bin mural on a family farm has transformed this rural landscape.
It's a wonderfully personal statement for a family, and I just love it. Every image means something, and it says something about the land. And
what does it say? What does it say to you?
I think it's about the heart, this one.
The heart.
And just sort of about family and hardworking family, celebrating family heritage of one family in particular, but also of the land where they live.
Of one family versus the community mural we saw earlier.
Even though it reflects the community as well.
Mm-hmm. And you see the family here watching the harvest, and you just get a feel of how much hard work went into this.
And it's kind of like a little moment in time, looking at the fruits of the labor.
And thanks to Susan, a moment in time that will last a lifetime.
Looking at your beautiful mural, I can't help but think of the song you were singing, The Sunny Side of Life.
Well, I think the golden wheat field sort of reflects the sunny side, but also just positive good feelings. I guess that's what I hope to portray in my mural, that the people that look at it feel good, maybe on a deeper level than they realize, that it's bringing joy or meaning or just reflection into themselves.
The sunny side of life.
That the world may know as we onward go, there's a sunny side of life.
And that's going to do it for us this time. We thank you for traveling the country with us on this edition of America's Heartland as we find interesting people and places to share with you.
We know that we pass along a lot of information to you in every program, and in case you missed something or you just want to check out videos from this or other shows, we make it easy. Just log on to our website at americasheartland.org. And of course, there's lots going on in our social media arena. You'll find us there as well. We'll see you next time on America's Heartland.
You can purchase a DVD or Blu-ray copy of this program. Here's the cost. To order, just visit us online or call 888-814-3923.
You can see it in the eyes of every woman and man in America's heartland, living close to the land. There's a love for the country and a pride in the brand in America's heartland, living close to the land.
America's Heartland is made possible by Farm Credit, financing agriculture and rural America since 1916. Farm Credit is cooperatively owned by America's farmers and ranchers. Learn more at farmcredit.com. Crop Life America, representing the companies whose modern farming innovations help America's farmers provide nutritious food for communities around the globe.